Hey guys, good morning. I want to share some good feeling thoughts with y'all, or rather insights. My life feels complete, and here I am at the age of 30. When I look back upon the last 15 or so years, I feel like I've worked my ass off. That's the feeling, but in such a satisfying way. You know, when you go to the gym and you feel really good afterwards. Now apply this to the sense of a lifetime, knowing that what you came here for, what you specifically came here for, and yes, you all chose to incarnate, whether you remember that or not. And you chose so with a sense of purpose, with a sense of intention. It wasn't just a random event. The feeling that you can look back on your life at the age of 30 and feel like I did what I came here to do. Now, don't get me wrong, there's much more that I could do or create or allow through this vehicle to come through. And I might. But just to arrive at the feeling state of fulfillment that you know you've worked your ass off for crystallizing yourself, forming, shaping yourself into the vehicle that is then able to deliver the message in a pristine way of the frequency, the state of being that you came to give to this planet. So that one day you can look back on your life and feel like you've completed your part in this game. You've completed what you came here to do. And it doesn't mean you have to die. It just means that that chapter, that initial intention has been fulfilled, or at least that has been set in motion enough for you to feel complete with that, to feel satisfied with that. Just imagine that feeling, because I know a lot of you guys don't feel this yet. You're still seeking for even what your purpose is, what your calling is. Now, and remember, your calling is nothing specific necessarily in terms of what you're doing, where you are, what people you're hanging out with or collaborating with. Your calling is the vibration that's closest to source that signifies what your individuation is. So, source is source. We're all that one source, but out of that source comes the expression of, you could say the soul, if you will. Let's just simplify it. Let's just say out of source comes the soul, and then out of the soul comes lifetimes or incarnations with different intentions for learning certain lessons and delivering benefit to people and other selves in different ways. And your present incarnation, in my view, in my experience, is one such a choice. It's one such a choice that you made. And so you're here. And now you forgot why you were here. And so the process of remembering begins, right? That's what spirituality is all about. It's the process of remembering who you are and then diminishing the vibration of the not self, the self that your parents have taught you to be, that the media have taught you to be, and that in recent times social media is teaching you to be. And so to diminish the vibrational difference between that not self or the false self or the conditioned self, the limited self, and the true self that lies timelessly at the core of who you are and you cannot get rid of it. That's why you're dissatisfied. There's this quote by, I think, Jim Carrey that says something like, depressed is actually a signal of your body that you've been playing this character for too long. You've been playing this character for too long, and it's a character that's not authentic to who you are. I'm paraphrasing. And because of that, you are depressed and you need now deep rest. And that makes sense. And I kind of agree with that statement. It's a simplified version of saying when you live out of alignment for long enough, of course, you're going to get a little worn out. You're going to get a little depressed. If you take on perspectives that aren't in alignment, but supporting why you are here, of course, you're going to feel limited and depressed and suppressed. So, what if you could look back on your life in, say, 5 years, no matter where you're at right now? Let's just imagine that 5 years from now, you can look back on your life and truly, authentically feel in your heart that no matter what happens from that date onwards, you did what you came here to do. You set in motion the message. You left the trail that you wanted to leave. And all of you can do this to a satisfactory degree within the next 5 years. Easy. You just got to get really clear on what that specific frequency or state of being is, which we typically call your calling or your sense of purpose or the reason for being here. And that 5 years from now, you can have created something that leaves that signature blueprint or that signature imprint, your unique frequency signature, onto this world for others to benefit from. Because it's all about being of service to each other, my friends. We are sharing one sky. We are sharing one atmosphere. It's a very, very thin bubble. If you look at the atmosphere from space, it's a very, very, very thin layer, unless you're a flat earther. Then you have a little bit more atmosphere. But for most people, it's a very thin layer of air, and we're all breathing it. Like, we can't make it off of this place without each other's help. We can't, like, progress. We can't evolve. We can't restore balance to this planet and ourselves and our species if we don't work together, if we don't learn to give. Be generous, be generous, be generous. Every day, give yourself to something. Give yourself to a principle that transcends just your personal needs and preferences. Nothing wrong with nourishing yourself, but do it in context to service of others. Do it in context to your calling. Of course, you got to nourish yourself so that you can execute your calling. Don't just nourish yourself to be fulfilling only your own preferences and only your own comfort zone and reinforcing that. Right? So 5 years from now, I want you to picture yourself as completely fulfilled, looking back upon the previous 5 years or your entire life, where all your mistakes suddenly make sense, where all your experiences and patterns and relationships and challenges from the past suddenly make sense in context to what you have delivered in those last 5 years, which from this timeline point of view is going to be your upcoming 5 years. What would that have to feel like, look like, be like? And what do you need to become in order to feel that fulfilled? And it doesn't mean that you've changed the entire world single-handedly. It just means that you've placed your pebble in the river of this world that made the difference that you came here to bring. And then afterwards, that's like a vibrational spiritual retirement. Again, doesn't mean that that you necessarily die or that you shouldn't do anything anymore past that point. It just means that you feel deeply satisfied with being here and what you've done with it, what you've created for yourself, what you've created. And when I say yourself, I mean the calling that is in resonance with the calling from other people's needs, what they need, what they are seeking. And you have a unique key for others to find their way back home through your unique path, through your unique essence. So I'm a little raspy this morning. Cigar first thing in the morning sometimes does that. And so imagine yourself literally 5 years from now, just sitting somewhere peaceful, somewhere beautiful, somewhere overlooking maybe an ocean or a beautiful mountain, and being in a contemplative, insightful mode, looking back on your life, feeling completely fulfilled with your purpose. And then everything after that point is just going to be delicious, flowy bonus where you have no attachment anymore because you've done your job. You've created what you wanted to create. You've put that pebble in the river of this collective. And now you're just watching the fruits unfold for everyone. How wonderful would that be? Ponder this.